Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura and I'm qualified to watch random people get fit and healthy on the internet. Wherever there is someone on the internet who is publicly trying to get fit, get healthy in general, lose weight, there will always be someone or something waiting in the wings trying to ruin that. I want to build this channel on spotlighting people who are on the internet very publicly doing this, documenting their journey, and I can't do that unless I also put a spotlight on the outside forces actively working against those efforts. I came across an article on NPR and I really want to talk about it, so it's kind of a reaction but mostly just a discussion. So I wrote some notes about it. I am going to be reading, and that's why you'll see me looking off to the side. There are some key things I really wanted to point out. I found this NPR article, I'll put it here, called "What Does a GLP-Friendly Diet Look Like?" We Ask Nutritionists, by Yuki Noguchi. I read this and I immediately knew that I wanted to include this in my content because there's just so much that we need to be aware of, and felt the need to warn those out there who are on GLP-1s that you are being targeted, and I want to talk about it. So I'm going to be reading a little bit of it, but not the whole thing. I will show it though for anyone listening in, so that you don't have to keep your eyes on the screen. A lot of people probably already know this, but just in case, a GLP-1 helps the body create more insulin, which helps regulate blood sugar, which is why people with diabetes will take it. Helps your body's signals with fullness, the leptin and the ghrelin hormones. It also helps food stay in your stomach longer, so you feel fuller for longer, also helping with satiety. So that's what a GLP-1 does inside the body. You're paying for a drug to help you with these things, but ultimately it is the food you're putting into your mouth. And a lot of people don't change anything about their diet, and then they expect to lose weight with the GLP-1. They get some pounds off and then they get off of it and they're right back to where they started. So the food you are eating is the most important part. And unfortunately for a lot of people who eat a lot of high processed foods, those high processed foods are directly affecting your hunger levels, your fullness levels, your insulin. I really hope you can't hear my neighbors. They're partying and I can hear it, but I hope the mic isn't picking it up. Okay, so the food is the important part, right? The main person they talk to in this article is a nutritionist. Later they say she's a dietitian though, so I don't know if there's a difference. I thought there was a difference, but I guess not. Her name is Allison Weisman. So in the article, it does say that dietary habits are crucial for using these drugs, and data will show, I mean, if they haven't changed anything, half of people will quit within the year and then quickly regain the weight. I think this is kind of well known that people need to actually learn about food while they're taking these, because that's what's long term. You're going to change your lifestyle so that you can keep the weight off. Again, the drug is a tool. It's not going to be a full solution. This article also points out that it's getting easier to access GLP-1s. I mean, I think it's in a pill now. It's not as expensive. I haven't done full research into what exactly it costs to get one. I know one person on it right now that's costing her about $400 a month. I don't know how many injections. I don't know anything about that, but I just know that that's what it's costing her. So the food industry has started putting this little stamp that says GLP-1 Friendly on it. I haven't seen this yet where I live, but I also don't peruse the frozen food aisle. It says GLP-1 Friendly. It's green. It catches your eye. It kind of reminds me of when everything was being stamped with the organic sign. I know that there's regulations for what is classified as organic or not. It's supposed to catch your eye. It's supposed to make you want to get it because it's filled with promises and stuff like that. This is reminding me of that. It's very much on marketing. So Weissman goes and picks up a frozen food. It's a Healthy Choice brand. Healthy Choice brand's Cajun shrimp and chicken dinner. On the front, at first glance, the label has high protein, 3 grams of fiber, and GLP-1 friendly. When I read that, I was like, what are you, a baby? 3 grams of fiber is for babies. It's recommended that we should have minimum 20 grams, no matter what age you are. For kids, I think it's different, but minimum 20. And I don't know what the max is, but I try to aim for 25 to 35 grams of fiber every single day, which means I'm having way more than 3 grams of fiber in one entire meal, especially a ready-made meal. That's like 3 grams of fiber is nothing. Anyway, sorry to go off about the fiber. It just seems extremely pathetic to me. So she turns it around and starts looking at the actual nutrition label. The first ingredient is cooked white rice and chicken. And then she says after that there's carrageenan, dextrose, potassium chloride, which are preservatives and stabilizers. And then after those things, you can see that they put shrimp. And I'm just going to scroll back up here to the name of the actual food. This is supposed to be Cajun shrimp and chicken dinner. And yet shrimp isn't even one of the first things on here. She points out that that's a protein source. This thing is supposedly high in protein, and yet shrimp isn't even one of the first things on there. She pointed out that 3 grams of fiber is like nothing. So this particular dinner that she picked up was 220 calories. Yeah, that's kind of small. So reading ahead a little bit. Conagra, the maker of Healthy Choice, said it added its checked marked GLP-1 Friendly labels to 26 of its existing meals, with plans to add an additional 6 products. Nestle, meanwhile, launched a brand called Vital Pursuits, targeting GLP-1 users and offering smaller portions in May 2024. Based on consumer response, the company said it expanded that line with higher protein meal options. Now, I'm going to look up exactly where I heard it, but I watched a video, I'll put it right here, the other day. It's called The Ozempic Economy. He pointed out that there was a company who changed absolutely nothing about their current recipes and just slapped the GLP-1 friendly or Ozempic, whatever it was, like GLP-1 approved little seal, and called it good. So what this article points out and what we can start to see for ourselves is that the term GLP-1 friendly is not a regulated term. There's no set of rules for what it has to include. There is no strict definition. It's arbitrary. And the danger in that is that companies can just slap this handy dandy little stamp on whatever they want, and they don't even have to change the product. And people who are not reading food labels and primarily eating ultra processed foods wouldn't know. So the food can be literally anything, and companies can just put that little label on there and expect you to buy it. So as a consumer, you need to know it's not a regulated term. This is exactly why learning about food is so important. And yeah, that's hard. Learning about food all over again as an adult is hard. But if you're going to be using this tool, it's not a quick fix. It's not the solution. And learning about food is going to become inevitable if you want to keep that weight off long term. I really love how they end this article. They say, everyone wants a quick fix, but part of a healthy lifestyle means accepting that sometimes there just isn't a shortcut. I fully agree. So this article was from a month ago, March 2026. There was another article that I'm going to segue into right now that I actually saw on the Honey Bison Emmy Brooklyn Baby recent video. Oh my god, I loved that collab, by the way. I was waiting for them. I love Emmy Brooklyn Baby and I love Honey Bison, so I was waiting for them to collab. But they pointed out an article that I then read and I was thoroughly appalled by. I thought it would tie into this article nicely because we're talking now about that little GLP-1 friendly stamp. And the New York Times article that they're referencing in that video shows the food industry in a much more insidious light, and I really wanted to tie it into this NPR article, so I'm gonna go jump to that. This article is actually from 2024. The title is Ozempic Could Crush the Junk Food Industry. but it is fighting back. As revolutionary new weight loss drugs turn consumers off ultra-processed foods, the industry is on the hunt for new products. It is disgusting, but it needs to be shared. So I'm going to be reading a little bit of it. It's a lot. I highly encourage you to go read the whole thing because it's just, I was just disgusted. So I'm going to be picking little pieces that I'm going to relate back to our original article. So they talk about how people's taste buds have been changing, kind of moving away from unprocessed foods. And of course, the food industry sees this as a threat. It does talk about a little bit of history of how the Matson brand and just food companies in general have changed their foods depending on what is popular at the time and what people want to taste. It's super weird. Like they specifically engineered the salt to taste a certain way to keep you coming back wanting more. They engineered like crackers to be crunchier. They go into like the chemistry of your brain. They're engineering foods that specifically will communicate with your brain that you want more, you want more, you want more, you need to get more of this and you're not full. They're fucking with your body, man. Like there's no other way to say it. These companies are fucking with your body and your brain. I read this entire thing to my husband, by the way. So I'm going to read this section because it was important. Right now, the industry's adaptation to Ozempic is in its infancy. A few companies have tested the waters. Nestle, for example, has started a line of frozen meals targeted at people taking GLP-1s called Vital Pursuit. They have frozen pizzas, sandwich melts, and chicken bowls with a sharper focus on smaller portions. But reliable data about how GLP-1s reshape people's likes and dislikes is yet to come. I'm going to make this full screen. While Ozempic is threatening to turn off the industrial palate, Matson believes that industrial foods may just need to be tweaked. Though many ultra-processed foods and drinks turn off a lot of GLP-1 users, some are breaking through. On GLP-1 forums, people celebrate Fairlife, a line of sweet protein shakes owned by Coca-Cola. And Matson has already dreamed up an arsenal of other potential winners. Then they go into this really fucked up show and tell where the engineers that work for Matson are gathering around in it's what I can describe as like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the room where they're like showing all of the inventions of all the candy that Willy Wonka wants to put out. That's what this reminded me of. So they're sitting around a table and they're all showing and telling their different ideas for food that they can sell out to people on GLP-1s. So Amanda brings in a plate of soft brown cubes. She explains that she has enriched each Nourish Fit brownie bite with 2 grams of whey protein for maintaining lean muscle mass during rapid weight loss. A peanut butter swirl would push that protein level even higher. Whey protein can have a grainy texture and chalky off notes, but the Nourished Fits were defectless, smooth, and sweet with remote echoes of cocoa, approximately 1/3 sugar and about 15% fat. The bite-sized portions were self-limiting. I'm going to keep reading. Then there was a chicken stick wrapped in a see-through plastic that looked like a riff on string cheese. They called it a supercharged mozzarella stick, which is just disgusting to me. It had 13 grams of protein and its grill lines were real for now. Later, the grill marks can be faked using caramel coloring, which is gross. It was a grown-up rendition of a classic kids snack that can be thrown in a purse. It tasted felicitously of citrus. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And this is because GLP-1 users report craving fresh acidic flavors. This is so predatory, dude. Like they're taking what they think people want specifically from this demographic and marketing. Just like, I know big food is already insidious. I know that they're trying to make money. I know that they make money off of us. Like, I know that. And then they talk about like different things that they are creating that they could then sell off to different fast food corporations like Taco Bell. It's so gross. It really does remind me of that episode of SpongeBob where they have that disgusting ass burger. They're like, you're eating trash, and they bite into the burger and it's all gray inside. This is what this reminds me of. Like, why don't you just make real food. And above that, why don't you just eat real food? You don't have to eat some disgusting ass supercharged mozzarella stick. Okay, so I'm gonna read this next section right here. It seems that GLP-1s, by regulating the release of dopamine, may make the flavor profiles of ultra-processed products, many of which have been optimized to stimulate the brain's reward system, less appealing. This next line just, I think it's said so perfectly. Does Ozempic shatter the illusion that junk tastes good by turning down the dopamine hit? 100% it does. Once you stop eating that shit, once it's out of your system, you won't crave it anymore. There will always be your favorite foods, right? There will always be the foods that you, no matter what it is, you will love no matter what, because that's just a food you love. Not everything is going to feel like that. Most of the food that you eat, if it's ultra processed, you won't crave it anymore because you realize that it's trash. So once that shit is out of your system, you reset. Your brain doesn't need it anymore. So I am glad that GLP-1 users are getting the opportunity to eat less of this. Not that they're eating real food, or not that they're craving real food over this, but just getting the opportunity to eat less of this and not just looking for the dopamine hit that comes from these foods is important. Like, a little bit of clarity can go a long way, which is why these companies are getting so afraid that you're going to stop buying their food. Mattson here says that convenience will win out. So even if you know that these meals aren't good for you and they're not as appealing as before, the convenience of, picking up the little boxes with the GLP-1 friendly stamps on them, I don't know why anyone would think that they're cheap, but it's just convenient above all else. They're thinking that that's going to be the deciding factor for people choosing their meals over real food. I'm going to read a little bit more of this. So they interviewed Nicole Avena, a professor of neuroscience at Mount Sinai, who studies sugar addiction. They asked her if she believed it would be possible for food companies to engineer, intentionally or not, compounds that would make GLP-1 drugs less effective. She told them it was plausible. The food industry, she pointed out, has cabinets of formidable reward-triggering compounds with which to experiment. Companies could end up counteracting the drugs to some degree in their efforts to make foods more rewarding. I'm sorry, is that a threat? Like, you're saying you have tricks up your sleeve, things in your back pocket you're saving that will counteract a drug we're taking? I'm so angry at these fucking food companies, man. I will say that the chief executive of Mattson did say in the article that they do want to help people. He was kind of careful with how he worded it, though. He said there is an honest desire in the industry to help people and support them in their weight loss journeys. For example, they know GLP-1 users have reported side effects like gastrointestinal issues, so they decided to add more fiber in some of their stuff because they know that that's something that they need. I don't know if it makes up for all the other shit that they're doing in the food, but if they're talking about the 3 grams of fiber in that other healthy choice frozen meal, then that's gonna have to try harder than that. They ended the article with the line, "We're good at making things taste good." I see that kind of as a threat. Like, we'll make any kind of food and we'll make it taste good and then we'll sell it to you. They can put whatever they want in it. So that's the article. I highly recommend you going to read it. It's really informative, really good. It is from 2 years ago. It's okay. It's still extremely relevant. I made this video because I wanted people on GLP-1s to be vigilant and stay informed and just be aware that the food industry is targeting you. So the important part is, if you're taking a GLP-1, you cannot leave your health in the hands of the drug alone. It is a tool. You can't leave your health in the hands of the food industry to watch what you're eating. They want your money and they want to keep you eating garbage. It is in your hands. So I will say the most secure way of building a better, healthy life is to stay informed, stay vigilant, and eat real food. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.